It's a tough question. It's like, it's the great question, just like writing your own bio. It's always like, where do you begin, But I'll start with like my here and now. I'm 42 years old. I have a daughter, an 8-year-old daughter, and um I love to be able to impart all of my wisdom, my knowledge, and everything I have to offer in an actual child that I get to watch and grow, But um, I also love to do this through my work, which is how I met you guys,
Yeah.
FitHop, and that's who I am today. I'm a guy who facilitates what's called edutainment, and that's educational entertainment or entertaining education, but the ability to keep the attention and really, yeah, impart the knowledge in such a way that will really work. Now, kind of a little bit of background to give you an idea of what inspired this. I from a young age, I'm the second in a family of four, so we competed a lot for attention, and I understand that dynamic of how the inner child in all of us. That's why I'm not just going to say youth, but there's an inner child in everyone, in me and you, as well. Needs to be seen, and how to reach when you're addressing such a large group and let everyone really feel seen. And this is something that I can say firsthand. I experienced growing up. Um, I loved I always had a rhythm in me. I always felt
Mm.
I could hear beats, almost like the movie August Rush. I'm not sure if you're
Yeah.
familiar with the
Yeah.
guests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What a film, right?
Yeah.
You'd hear birds chirping and it's like, yeah, like you can hear the cadence and rhythm with which they're singing. And it's true, nature is one big song. And I teach this in FitHop. It's called Universe, and it's just one song. Literally, we use the word to describe all of existence, and the word breaks down to uni one
Mhm.
versus Latin for song.
Yeah.
So from a young age, I had that awareness to this. I was tuned to this. I felt that beat constantly inside of me, and I expressed it in different ways. Pots and pans, with my older brother, we'd bang away on pots and pans. But I later understood. I also was very much. My whole family was gymnasts, big in gymnastics, cousins, everybody, and very talented. Background is Greek. My mother's from Sparti. So if you guys are familiar, the Spartans are very athletic. They're
Oh,
warriors, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And their unity essentially was what made them such great warriors. Actually, usually I make the reference of the samurai versus the Spartan. The samurai, pound for pound, who knows, maybe is even more skilled than a Spartan. But what makes the Spartans were their unity. They were really, really tight
Mhm.
unit, and their movements were all almost like a dance. They weren't even fighting, and that's actually a really cool sort of recognition that you have the Eastern and the Western uh, arts, but art, which is ultimately the expression of heart and the ability to overcome the battle that's within us all, which is to be seen and do in such a way that it's like we're proud to say, hey, this is me, this is my creativity. It's tough. It takes a lot of discipline and it takes a lot of responsibility because with art, there's great power. And
Yeah.
with great power, we know Peter Parker, right? Like Spider-Man comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the Spartans, believe it or not, weren't given a weapon until they learned to dance. And even if you look over to the Eastern Hemisphere, the Asian culture, the samurais weren't given a sword until they first mastered calligraphy.
Yeah.
So this is where they learned the discipline. Before they could be trusted with that power, they had to first prove their responsibility. And art was the way they did that. So yeah, like Spartan on my mother's side, on my paternal father's side is more like closer to Athena, which is where you hear about all these Greek philosophers. And my last name, which Sofianos literally means Sofianos is the correct pronunciation. It means philosopher in Greek. So people always wondered, why are you so deep in like how it's just kind of in my name. I can't help it. So that kind of brought me to getting in, yeah, lots of gymnastics, a lot of movement. Musical expression was something that I found difficult because I'm left-handed, and I sat at my first set of drums, or any set of drums I ever sat at was a right-handed set of drums because most people are right-handed.
Uh-huh.
And I had to kind of figure everything out backwards, and somehow I did enough that I was given the opportunity by the music teacher in grade 6 to actually play the drums, like as part of my curriculum, because that was the one instrument no one was allowed to play. The music teacher played because everyone wanted to play. So, but a cool little story is he actually had walked in. The door was left open once, the music room, and me and a friend of mine, my best friend Tommy, we snuck in and we started playing drums because finally there was our opportunity to play. So when Mr. Mills walked in the class room, he saw that, where I was playing there, and I was like, oh, like put the sticks down. I was so like, oh no, like I'm in trouble now. And Mr. Mills said, hey, wait a second, pick up the sticks. Okay, I picked up the sticks. He's like, play. I played, and he saw that I was playing backwards, and he recognized I was left-handed, and he said, you're playing the drums backwards right now. And I can't remember who he referenced, but like a couple of like famous, just like Jimi Hendrix, left-handed, but he played the guitar, like right-hand guitar, upside down. Somehow he figured it out. And therefore, because of that, I was rewarded the ability to play the drums and focus on that as my instrument. And that was like, for me, one of the greatest rites of passage, because now I got to really ground and learn the musical language and science and arithmetic, because music is all math, really.
Yeah.
And I was able to apply a lot of my mind and extra, energy. I'm ADHD, like clinically now diagnosed. I only flew under the radar because all the drumming and all the gymnastics training, we're talking sometimes 9 hours a week,
Wow.
were how I was expressing all that excess energy and focusing it and honing it. Because ADHD, for those who don't know, it's truly a gift. I mean, we're starting to learn more about it now and accept that it's a gift ability. It's not just a disability. And it just needs to be honed. It needs to be owned, really learned how to work with it. So yeah, growing up, music and movement were my main go-tos to kind of find peace and solace. I
Yeah.
hope that kind of wraps it up. I mean, there's so much more. I got into music professionally. I ran a record label for 12 years called Spartan Productions, tribute to my ancestors, and tried to really just bring together artists. I call them Spartists. So not just an artist, a Spartan artists under Spartan Productions was one who was, and I'll just quote Thomas Aquinas, who says a beautiful quote: he who works with his hands is a laborer. He who works with his hands and his head is a craftsman. However, he who works with his hands, his head, and his heart is an artist. And
Wow.
I loved that. Yeah, it really stuck with me deeply. And I then later wrote, he works with his hands, his head, his heart, and others as a Spartist. As I was meditating on what is this Spartist concept? It's like recognizing that you're working with all of it and with each other, because there ain't no creation like a collaboration. And you'll see I do that often.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of rhymes that kind of help me remember and recall the wisdom that I've over these years accumulated, and I love to pass down. And I felt no better way I found to do that than having like nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
And that's what nursery rhymes are. They're deeper than just, they're stories that we remember.
If you want to hear more stories, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. To support more youth by youth led projects, visit us at youthspeak.ca, where you can donate and spread youth mental health awareness.
YouthSpeak Charity. Speak, inspire, change.